We've all seen AI generate some pretty amazing text, images, even music. But what if an AI could be a creative partner in the real physical world? What if it could actually, well, dance with you? Today, we're diving into this really fascinating new frontier, teaching an AI to improvise and collaborate, not with words, but with movement.
So just imagine this for a second. A dance partner that gets your rhythm perfectly, but also has its own creative flair, surprising you in fun ways. Could that partner actually be an AI? And that's really the big question researchers are tackling here. We're not talking about some robot just repeating a pre-programmed routine. No, the goal here is an AI that can genuinely improvise, respond, and create with you right there in the moment, just like a real person.
So, how in the world did they pull this off? Well, here's what we're going to cover. We'll look at this new kind of AI partner, the big challenge they ran into, the really clever solution they came up with, how they tested it, and of course, what this all means for the future of creative AI.
That's right. We are moving way beyond just typing prompts into a text box. This is about what's called embodied intelligence. It's all about creating a physical, nonverbal partnership between a person and an AI.
And that's exactly why dance is such a perfect and difficult test for AI. Think about it. Unlike generating a static image or a block of text, a dance is this interactive, real-time conversation that happens completely without words. The AI can't just do its own thing. It has to react and adapt to a human partner, second by second. That is a whole other ballgame.
And this leads us right to the core problem the researchers had to solve, what we're calling the Duet Dilemma. Now, you'd think the obvious way to do this would be to just train the AI on a ton of videos of humans dancing together, right? But here's the problem. That just doesn't work. Why? Well, most human duets you see are choreographed. They're rehearsed. But a human dancing with an AI, that's going to be spontaneous, totally unpredictable. And get this, we humans actually move differently when we know our partner is a machine. That kind of thing can completely throw off an AI that's only ever learned from watching two humans interact.
And the researchers, they put it perfectly. They state it right here, plain and simple. The old training methods just don't transfer well to these real-time improvisational situations. They knew they needed a totally new approach, one that didn't just copy old dance videos.
So, if the old way is a dead end, what's the solution? This is where things get really cool. The researchers came up with this brilliant approach that combines two key ideas, mimicry and creativity. Honestly, the best way to understand their model is to think about a really great human dance partner. They don't just copy your every single move like a mirror, right? But they also don't completely ignore you and do their own thing. They find that perfect sweet spot. They follow your core rhythm and your lead, but then they add their own style, their own flair on top of it. And this is the absolute key to the whole thing. The researchers knew that for the dance to feel alive, to feel playful and creative, you need both. You need that alignment, that connection, but you also need some difference. The AI has to be in sync with the human, but it also has to have the freedom to be its own creative self.
Okay, so here's the play-by-play of how it works. First, the system captures the person's movement. Then, and this is the genius part, it breaks that movement down into two things. The big foundational movements, which they call the core rhythm, and all the little faster details, the stylistic flair. Then the AI mimics that core rhythm so it stays perfectly in sync with you, but at the same time, it generates its own unique stylistic flair. Finally, it just combines those two parts and performs a final movement that feels both connected to you and brand new.
I mean, this all sounds amazing in theory, right? But the real question is, does it actually work? The researchers had to figure out a way to measure just how well their AI could dance with a human partner.
So to do that, they used a metric called Frechet Inception Distance, or FID. Now, don't worry about the fancy name. All you need to know is that it's basically a mimicry score. The lower the score, the closer the AI's movements are to the human style. Simple as that.
And the results are just fascinating. Check this out. The AI with no interaction starts with a really high score, around 112. But as they crank up the interaction, basically telling the AI to pay more attention to the human's core rhythm, that score just plummets. It goes all the way down to 49. Now, that's still a ways off from a real human score of about 9.5, but it is a massive, massive improvement. So what does a lower score actually look like when they're dancing? Well, it means the AI's body is facing the same way as the humans. Its arm swings start to mirror what the person is doing, The whole dance, the whole duet, it just feels more believable, more connected. The AI is truly listening to its partner through movement. This is obviously incredibly cool, but the implications here go way, way beyond just the dance floor. What we're looking at is a step toward a completely new kind of creative partnership with AI. I mean, just imagine it. Collaborative tools for artists or musicians that can riff off their ideas in real time, or responsive AI partners for physical therapy that can adapt to a patient's exact movements to help them recover. It could even be a way for anybody to practice a new skill, a new movement, without the social pressure or judgment of having a human partner there.
And really, this is the most important takeaway. The researchers are very clear about this. The goal isn't to replace human dancers or artists. It's about creating a new tool, a new kind of partner that can enhance our own creativity and open up brand new ways for us to interact with technology in a physical, embodied way.
So that leaves us with one final question for you to think about. If you had an AI that could physically improvise with you, whether it's in music, art, sports, or something we haven't even dreamed of yet, what's the first thing you would want to create together? We would absolutely love to hear your ideas down in the comments.